your side pieces. Right here, I've got a completed side, carcass side done, okay? I've got 2 dados and a rabbet, as well as 2 pocket hole screws, okay? We're gonna attempt to try this a little bit different than what I've done in the past. Okay, each one of these is gonna be milled a different way. Okay, we're gonna make the top rabbet on the panel saw. We're gonna do the center one on the panel router, and we're gonna do the bottom dado on the table saw. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to have to lay this up. I've got my 2 side pieces that have been cut down from the panel saw, and I'm gonna, well, first I'm gonna choose the ugly side. I want to be writing on the ugly side of my piece, and I'm not just talking wood grain, I'm also talking edges. Okay, if any of the edges have gotten chewed up, all right, you want those sides up. Mine looks pretty darn good though. All right, so you can't see me anymore, but here's what I've got going on. I've got my side pieces. I need to make sure that they're the same width and the same length. Okay, I can do that by simply flushing them up with my hands like this. Okay, I've got 2 pieces, but you can hardly tell on video. I'm gonna flush them up again, find the most beautiful side and put that side down. Boy, that's a hard one right there, but that's what I've got right there. I've flushed up these edges right here. I like this square right here under the camera, all right, because I can do a lot with it. I would recommend a sharp pencil. I'm going to use a felt tip just so you can see better in this video. I'm going to first make a measurement for the rabbet going along the top edge of our board. I'm going to take 2 measurements on each board, 1/2 inch down, and then with the heel of my square right here, this is the heel, this blue part, I can align that, slide it up to my marks. My marks should all align right here, okay? I've got a 12-inch piece here, 12-inch piece. This is a 24-inch square. Gosh, that was pretty smart, whoever decided to set up these parameters. All right, and so that is going to be my top rabbet. I'm going to make some marks here just so I know what is going to get milled off. Again, a rabbet doesn't go all the way through, but that's going to make an indication right there of what's getting cut off. Next line I'm going to take is going to be 5 inches down. I can do that with my tape measure too. Check this out. There's 5 inches, there's 5 inches, 5 inches. Put my square on there. Make that line. These are all going to be 1/2 inch dados. Okay, the rabbet was 1/2 inch. The dado is also going to be a 1/2 inch. So I can, again, take my tape measure. Now instead of 5 inches from here to here, I'm going to go 5.5 because that's going to be the width of that dado. Take your time doing this. Everything should align. Everything should be square. Work with a partner on this. It's more fun. And you guys can check each other's work. It's not permission to copy, but we are collaborating on this project. That's what's getting milled off. Okay, there's our first dado. Our second dado is going to come 1 inch up on our board. And I'm going to production this a little bit quicker. All right, I actually made a mistake, and I'm re-recording this video right now because I drew it on the opposite side. So I measured 1 inch. Now I'm going to make that second measurement at 1/2. Okay, because my dado is going to be 1/2 of an inch. Again, for 1 inch. And our dado This is what it should look like, okay? If you have made your face frame at this point, we should be able to put our face frame, flush it up on this end right here, and these rails should cover up the entire markings that you made. If that's not the case, either your face frame is wrong or your carcass side layout is wrong. At this point, we're going to make this cut right here on the panel saw, this one on the table router, and then this one down here on the table saw. Look for the next videos on how to do that. All right, at this point, we're going to make a dado on the table saw. We're going to make that dado to hold up the bottom shelf. You do not have to do these in the order that I am doing them in, but I do want you to do them on the machine that I'm encouraging you to go on. Before you get here, let's check out a few things. First thing, we should see a dado blade in here. It should also be set so that that blade is up no more than halfway up through the thickness of the material. The maximum blade height should be 3/8, which is exactly half of 3/4. Math people, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm just going to eyeball this. All right, I know I'm not going up more than 1/2 of an inch. When I got over here today, this blade was hiked up about 2 inches above the wood that I'm cutting. I'm not sure what was going on beforehand. I'm blaming my construction students, but I put this back down, and there is a locking mechanism that I'm not going to show anybody how to do that should lock that blade in place. Okay, but please check that blade height before you just cowboy this and go for it. The fence distance is going to be 1 1/2 inch. Okay, it's measuring to the outside of the blade. Remember when we make rip cuts, we measure from the inside? Dados we're measuring from the outside. So I can line this up as I'm doing here, and it should align pretty much perfect with my lines. Next, I'm going to swing the guard back over. I've got a very limited space for my push stick to travel through, but I do have just enough. Okay, it's about 1 inch through here. My push stick is about 1/2 of an inch, and so we are using this guard while we're making dados on our carcass sides. You'll look and notice that the wood grain is going opposite to how you usually use the table saw. Because this is plywood, at least it should be plywood. If it's not, come and talk to me right away. This is plywood, so that means that each layer is actually rotated up to 90 degrees. And so there's no real predominant grain direction. The grain direction you see is a very, very thin veneer on here, which this dado blade will make quick work of. Okay? Fence is set, my blade is set. I got my push stick ready. Looks like this. Have someone catch for you so this doesn't fall onto the floor. Check the depth. And while you're still standing here, make sure you do the other one. Here it is again. These two bottom these two bottom dados should be identical. We're going to use the panel saw to cut these two rabbets on the top ends of our carcass side pieces. Okay? We're going to use the panel saw for that. And when you get to the panel saw, it's probably going to look like this. Okay? We've got our rip cut saw on here, and so we've got to take that off and install our router head. Router head should be all set up, but we got to go find it. So follow these steps to change out that router head. There are 2 thumb screws. I'll show you what one looks like. On the top of our carriage right here. Okay, let's set those off to the side. And now this is loose. Okay, carefully take this off. There should be this little stand somewhere around here for you to put these on. A couple things. These warning labels should be reading correctly, meaning they're not upside down. This is going to fit into here. And those 2 bolts that we took those thumb screws off should be aligned on here. Okay, before you go and use this, please double check with me that this has been installed properly. If I didn't mention it before, make sure you've got this thing unplugged while you're doing it. Reinstall the electrical, and these 2 knobs right here lock that carriage in place. We've got a 1/2 inch router bit on here. Okay, this does move up and down, okay, but it should just be down while we're making our cuts. Okay, after we've got our carriage installed, we're going to install our midway fence, which sits under here. Notice the orientation that I have this midway fence in. Okay, it's got to be oriented like this. It's on top of these little cams, and it should come all the way in here. Okay, look at where this is notched out. Look at how this is notched out right here. That's so it can accept that saw carriage. All right, our saw is just about set up. Last thing, we're going to dig under here. I've got this little box right here on the saw that has all of our extras, all of our bump stops, all of our quick stops, some of the wrenches that we need. But I need to install this clamp, which I've already got installed, on this one right here. Okay, it's going to ensure that I can clamp my piece safely to the frame of the machine, so it's going to be held still. This is a very simple thing, folks. This red knob loosens out. You drop it on the floor. Nope, you don't. Pull out the pin, and now I'm able to actually install that around. Alright, tighten my knob. There we go. I'm actually only going to need 1 on here, so I'm actually going to take this off. When you leave the saw, please do not leave it like this. Please make sure you take off the clamps. Put away the midway fence. And most importantly, reinstall the cutting head on the panel saw. There might be a construction kid that's never used this before that comes to try to make a rib cut on a piece of plywood and routes a dado all the way through the thing. So please make sure that you put it back, put the clamps back, midway fence back, tools back, everything back, so that we're back in business. Okay? Here's what's really cool about this saw. 1, I worked here. 2, it's got a rabbet stop right here. This movable item right here is why we're choosing the panel saw for this. Okay? This has been set up. I can pull this out, whoops, like that. Orient my piece against that rabbet stop. Clamp it down so it's not moving. I'm right here. Now this is really simple. The on button is right up here. I'm just going to drive it all the way through the board. Wait for that motor to stop, that bit to stop. Unclamp your piece. See what we got. That, my friends, is a perfect rabbet. Thank you, safety speed. Here's my other one. please hang out with me a minute so you can see how to put this back, okay? Safety speed market says, so this can be done inside of a minute. We're not trying to make those numbers, but it is pretty quick. Safety Steve Sheets taught me this trick right here, put the dust collection and the electrical back there. Bring it down, lock it down, loosen the thumb screws. I always drop at least one. Except today. All the words should read upright. Many of them are reading upside down. You've got this on backwards. Please flip it over. Thumb screws are tight. Thread knobs are loose. Plug her back in. Take off the midway fence. Take off your clamps. You're free to go on to the next piece. All right, the last step of rabbiting a dado, our carcass sides, is going to be the center dado where my thumbs are. Okay, this machine right here is probably older than I am. It was built in the 90s, and it's super cool. This is a router head, very much like what we just saw on the panel saw. There's this table set up right here, and it's kind of funny. Safety Speed sells one almost exactly like this. It's called a TR2, Table Router 2. I jokingly call this the Table Router 1, TR1. So the way this works is with my markings on my board, I'm going to slide this in along this fence right here, and I'm actually going to hit this stopping board right here. Never ever unclamp these clamps, and we should be fine. But we can still check right here. Zoom in right here if you can. I've got a pointer that should be pointing along one of the edges of my dado. Okay, if that is happening, I'm going to take these red clamps and push them down until they lock. You'll actually hear a little thud. Hear that? This piece is not going anywhere. Now, with this plugged in and with our on button on, it operates like the drills. I'm going to pull the trigger. It's going to be loud, and I am going to drive it through. None of these videos have been sped up or slowed down while I'm machining the wood. So you can see the speed that I'm expecting to go off of here. Okay? This is what it looks like. Drive it through, pull it back with the motor on. Take it out. That's what it should look like. It should be square all the way through. As long as it's tied up against this fence, it clamps down. I'm going to set in my other one. And let's mistake this on purpose. Okay? If we zoom in, I got something going on here, right? I've got a top and a bottom. Okay, and if I look into this pointer, I don't see any marks. If you don't see any marks when you go to line up this machine, something's off. Okay? Could be my machine, but it's more likely probably you. Tight against the fence, I'm going to slide it in, so it hits this stop, and now it aligns with my mark. Oh, much better. Here it is again. Now we have two complete, almost complete, I should say, almost complete carcass sides. Okay? I'm going to flush them up together, and everything is talking to each other. Everything is aligned. Last thing we are going to do is we're going to put two pocket holes on this. Okay? So this is kind of cool. Check this out. I folded this like a book. I flushed up the ends and each edge. And if we look really close here, all right, we can actually see two slots and then the rabbet right here. That is what we should see when we come over to our screw pocket machine. Okay? These are going to be the outsides of our cabinet right here. We should have all the rabbits and dados on the inside. I'm going to make, I'm going to change this up. Let's make 3 pocket holes, and let's avoid the rabbits and dados. Okay, I'm going to do that on each edge as I flip this, okay? We don't need to be super mathematical. We're just avoiding the rabbits and dados. Okay, now check this out. I've got them on the same edge. Okay, this is going to have to open and close like a book. All right, I have my screw pocket machine right here. And so if we do this right, we should have 2 mirroring sides of our cabinet's carcass. You've got it right in the left hand. Okay, they're essentially the same, but they're backwards, right? When you put on gloves, you need a left and a right. Okay, they mirror each other, and that's what we're trying to do right here. Turn the air on. Align your line with the line of the machine. Push it all the way back to the fence. Press and release. The pocket holes must be on the same side as your dados. If we start milling this side of the board, it is ruined. Please go slow at this time, okay? Everybody see my problem here? That pocket hole is going to come up from the bottom. We want it to come up through the top. Okay? That's why we're making the marks on the opposite side, on the good side, so that it gets drilled from the bottom. Make sure we're tight to the fence. There we go. This is going to sit opposite of each other now. Okay? We're going to have shelf bottoms, 1/2-inch plywood or MDF, fit together there and there. We'll have top runners going across the top to hold on our tops. And these screw pockets right here are going to be responsible for helping hold on our face frame when we go to assembly. But right here is what we're after, folks. We want 2 carcass side pieces that mirror each other like a left and right hand that completely align with one another.